Good evening, everybody. The talk will be in two parts. In the first part, I will talk about cosmetics and maybe its symbolic meaning and maybe ideology, as Chris asked me to do. And in the second part, I will connect the examples from anthropological literature to my field work, what I found in Slovakia, and maybe kind of draw it together at the end. In the animal world, bodily adornments are matter of sexual choice and sexual competition. We see beautifully ornamented males, think of peacock's tail, displaying to choosy females who choose the best looking one. Across cultures, in every culture, we humans beautify our bodies. We use body paint, can be ochre, can be other pigments. We use tattoos, scars, makeup. We dye our hair, we braid it, we cut it. We use clothing and jewelry. We even borrow sexual ornamentation from animal and plant worlds. We use feathers, hides, flowers, barks. These cosmetics, as Camilla Power, in line with Zahavi and Zahavi's theory suggests, are costly displays that honestly show the quality of an individual who is displaying them. Because these ornaments are costly and elaborate in both animal world as well as in our human culture societies, we should try to explain them through sexual selection theory. Yet, from the point of this theory, sexual selection theory, human bodily ornamentations are often understood and explained, similarly like in the animal world, individualistically and competitively. Individuals compete with each other as who will be the most attractive, who will be the most appealing, as we can maybe infer from the picture over there. Yet the anthropological literature, as well as my research and Camilla's theoretical model, suggest that our bodily decorations are not just individualistic and competitive, but they are also collective and collectivizing, and they are inseparable from collective rituals, and within these rituals they carry symbolic meanings. The word itself, the word cosmetics, comes from the Greek word cosmos, which means world, universe and order, as opposed to chaos. But in its plural form, it also means adornment, ornament. So in my talk, I'm using a broad understanding of cosmetics, not just makeup maybe that we would associate these days, but I use cosmetics as a bodily decoration as such. It can be body paint, it can be tattoos, it can be scarifications, it can be makeup itself. Camilla Power suggests that cosmetics form the basis of cosmology, meaning decorating bodies are aesthetic objects on one hand, but also organizing subjects on the other hand in traditional kinship-based societies. Here cosmetics accompany all kinds of rituals: marital, healing, hunting, ritual of maturity, if you want to put it that way, or maybe and they are a universal aspect of initiation rituals. Especially in these initiation rituals, cosmetics are often understood by both local populations and researchers, and also theorized that way as a means to manipulate nature by installing culture, society and order. And bodily ornamentations are seen as means of expressing this socialization. I would like to now talk about cosmetics as a dominant ritual symbols in in female collective rituals. I will be using the work of Victor Turner, his book The Forest of Symbols, and that's the Moody tree, the dominant symbol of the Nembu population where he did his research. Following Turner then, I would like to explore the possibility of understanding cosmetics as the smallest ritual unit, the ritual morpheme of female collective coalition. According to Turner, every ritual has its dominant symbol through which the purpose of the ritual is realized. And this symbol refers to values and principles of social organization. In Turner's view, such ritual symbols can be objects, activities, relationships, gestures, events, spaces. Such symbol is the main focus of the ritual. It's its content, and it's also the medium through which the ritual takes place. This symbol also stands for the ritual itself. Such a ritual symbol simultaneously operates as the smallest basic unit of the ritual, the morpheme, that condenses the meaning of ritual. And these symbols are also polysemic, they carry more meaning than one. I will try now to show on the examples of African female initiation rituals and maybe collective female rituals, and on my own data, how these basic ritual symbol, the cosmetics, work as the basic ritual symbols. I probably know the picture from Chrissy's book. Among the African hunter-gatherer groups, we see ritualized, magical, transformatory powers of the cosmetics often associated with hunted animals. On this picture, we see a young cock girl during the ceremony of her first menstruation, and she has a mask of a gemsbok painted on her face. Among the Yuhuan initiation rituals, female initiation rituals, girls are also ritually transformed through the application of cosmetic into eland bulls, with an ochre painted pattern on her forehead and cheeks. And the girl decorated as an eland is referred to as a good thing, as a positive thing. This is Chrissy's picture. This is the Hadza, and among the Hadza there's an initiation ritual called Maitoko, and it starts with preparation of bee decoration. So it starts with preparation of cosmetics, of body decorations. In this ritual, the girls initiates, as well as already initiated women, undergo genital cutting. After the girls are cut, they are adorned with, as Camilla points it, lavish bead decorations, and they are smeared with fats. And they wear black and white bead stockings that reproduce zebra's pattern. So again, we have cosmetics that transforms the initiated girls into desirable hunted animals. We have a picture of little girls who wore white designs against Chrissy's picture. Again, they are transformed into both zebras and hunters. Part of the ritual, as we can see on this picture, is running together and to chase the boys with sticks. This ritual should ensure, on one side, proper sexual behavior of the initiated girls, but it also reliably shows the commitment to the women's coalition through expenditure of time, energy, pain that are seen as ritual costs that these women pay to become part of the group of the coalition of women. These, I think, we can understand as the moral dimensions of cosmetics, of collective application of cosmetics. This ritual also ensures adult maturity, yet it also secures a periodical movement of power. It's a challenge and counter-challenge between men and women, what Mona Finnegan calls a pendulum of power, where the power is never frozen with one sex or the other one, but it's in a constant movement there and back, in a flux. In the mythical ritual, women as a group contest men's claims to power, and thus the cosmetic ritual ensures a proper functioning of things. It brings in order. Cosmetic is the power is never with someone. It's always moving from women to men and back again. Thus the cosmetic ritual ensures a proper functioning of things, social as well as cosmic order. This ritual is connected to the myth of the woman with the zebra's penis, and a social order of non-hierarchy, egalitarianism. Here we have Central African hunter-gatherers, Ba'aka, amongst which Mona Finnegan shows a very similar oscillation of power between the sexes and between the individual and the group. Here no one holds the power, no one dominates. This movement of power is initiated and kept in motion by beautifully decorated female ritual collectives that display the same-sex coalitionary solidarity. It is a constant public negotiation or ritual managing of power tensions between men and women. The morality of such ritualized, cosmeticized displays is women's sexual inviolability on the one hand, and their own sexual solidarity on the other. The cosmological order is to maintain the fluidity and, again, egalitarianism, non-hierarchy. Now back to Victor Turner, where he portrays a girl's initiation or puberty ritual on the Kanga amongst the Ndembu that is performed before the onset of the girl's menstruation, and the girl is secluded, and during this seclusion her body is cut, patterns are cut into her skin, and the black ash mixed with oil is wrapped into the cuts to make them black, and they are supposed to make the girl attractive. Part of this is also women donate white colored bead necklaces for decorating the girl's hair, neck and shoulders, and the girl's body is the girl's cut body is then covered with oil and red earth, and the women sing and they dance. What they told to Victor Turner is that this decoration is supposed to make the girl look attractive for men. However, as you can see, Victor Turner's wife, Edith Turner, noticed and stresses the collective character of the whole beautification ceremony, as we can read here. The women sat her down, took off her blanket and began to work on her. While the women were working, were making woman, a strong camaraderie developed behind the screen as we sensed the beauty we were creating. The girl's initiation starts at the mudi or milk tree that Turner understands as the dominant ritual symbol in this girl's initiation ceremony. This symbol represents unity and solidarity of Nembu women on one hand, their opposition to men because women sing songs taunting the men. They wouldn't let men dance in their circle, and they would attack men with jeering songs. It also represents the sexual maturity of the initiated girl, which we can understand as proper order or proper functioning of things, and also her morality within the community of adult women she's entering. It also represents a tension between the girl and the moral community of adult women, or maybe possibility of such conflict, of such tension. Part of the decoration, part of the body art, part of the application of cosmetics is a small string of beads that the women hide in the girl's hair. The girl doesn't know about it, no one is supposed to see that. Yet this small string of white beads is the same string that was hung on the arrow of the bridegroom, and this arrow was put upright onto the in the soil by the milk tree, the dominant symbol. I would suggest to see this string of beads as a link between the milk tree and the collective application of cosmetics amongst the women. And through this link we can then connect the milk tree with cosmetics as the dominant ritual symbol, or maybe just one of the meaning of the milk tree, because the dominant symbols are polysemic. And in this case, cosmetics as milk tree would stand for female solidarity, for matriliny, for womanhood, and also for expected proper behavior of the initiated girl. So it would stand for the proper order as well as for the morality of the community of women. Audrey Richards depicts female initiation rituals among the Bemba called Chisungu, also connected with application of cosmetics at its center, or maybe at the center of everything that's important. Everything that's important happening in these rituals is done through the medium of cosmetics. The ritual starts through dabbing red clay paint onto the initiated girls and all the older women taking part in the initiation. So the collective of women is marked. The whole ritual is basically about dealing with the, as Audrey Richards says, dealing with the physiological issues with the, at the onset of puberty, which is basically menstruation. Amongst the Bemba, menstruation is coded as a potentially dangerous. So the girl needs to learn how to contain the dangerous powers. And how is it done? It's done through application of cosmetics. The final ceremony is made of collective application of white cosmetics onto the initiated girl or girls with the presence of all the women. It's called the whitening magic. As Richards points out, during this particular ceremony, the whitening ceremony, women express their affection towards the girls in the way they talked about them. Yet again, we have a plural form here. We make the girls white, we make them beautiful, we make them white like egrets. Then, of course, follows an uproarious return of the women to the village, running and shouting all the way. But part of this whitening magic is also learning, part of the initiation is also learning secret words, secret rhymes. And of course, one of them is the secret word for collective application of the white cosmetics. And we are coming to the last example of last ethnographic example before I go onto my research. This is tattoos from Mozambique, where women and girls done this as a collective practice. During the colonial rule, but also before it. Interestingly, tattoos were done by tattoo artists who were paid a small fee in money or in some produce or in some work, but they've never been seen as an economic transaction. These tattoos were very highly valued amongst the women because they provided what they call blood ties that were more inclusive than kinship ties and enabled these women who were highly mobile and of course after marriage went to live in the husband's village. So these tattoos enabled these women to create a bonds of kinship, of fictitious sisterhood, or fictitious kinship through these tattoos. So they created a new networks of female fellowship, affective bonds, and of course they were part of women's secrets, as one of the research participants with whom Heidi Gengenbach worked. You didn't talk about these things, even with your grandmothers. They know we are doing these things, but they don't say anything, and we don't say anything. It's our secret of the girls. The girls would organize themselves. They would run away from home to be tattooed. And of course, against the punishments from missionaries, because they would be beaten at school if they had the tattoos done. So apart of marking female networks of affiliation and friendships, these tattoos represented also female secret knowledge. They could tell the whole history for strictly female audience. They could talk about their aspiration to the whiteness, aspiration to maybe economic capital or social capital by including white object that they tattooed. I don't know, for example, an iron or there was a very strong peer pressure to have tattoos done, and women who did not have them were mocked by the tattooed women. I have one more, which is very similar to the research I was doing. As one of the informants says, you're at the river, you look at each other over, maybe you're washing each other backs, your fellow woman. Those tattoos are really beautiful indeed. Where did you cut those? I want them to. Very similar situation to the women I did research with in Slovakia. So these tattoos were also proofs of bravery, but they also contributed to making the girls into women, and of course they created the blood sisterhood amongst the women. The experience of being tattooed was understood as a test that allowed the girls to pass into an adult female community where the cooperation between the women rather than competition was possible. Here we have Bemba snake dance, and I just wanted to point out, when you look at the incredible synchrony of the girls, they are all friends, they all work together, they all dance together, no one wants to stick out. That's what the collective cosmetic rituals create. They create cooperative bodies of women that move like one body. They have incredible potency when they all are one. As we saw in the examples of hunter-gatherers, a collective female body has the power to swing the power relations and get the power and keep the power before they release it back. Just to sum up, I was trying to show how cosmetics have magical, transformative properties. They also create collective fantasies. They use red pigments can on one hand represent deceptive sexual signaling, as Camilla Power would suggest, by representing the menstrual blood, yet they also represent the symbolic side of it. They represent the sacred, the taboo, magical or supernatural potency. In the rituals, the participants who wear the cosmetics are carried into the other world that sets women apart into a sacred time and space that is inaccessible to men. Thus, cosmetics gives the universe its structure, which means that there are two worlds, this world and the other. That's the basis of cosmology. Cosmetics symbolize the female ritual solidarity and their collective morality. This means joining it with your blood of fictive mothers or fictive sisters and bearing the cost of entry, be it cost of time, energy, pain, whatever is the currency, and of obligation of such belonging. This morality is carefully monitored by the women within these coalitions. Cosmetics are a reliable signal of the extent and quality of such coalition, as we saw here previously. Thus, the rituals of beauty magic are also at the same time rituals of social magic, as Camilla and Pierre Bourdieu point out, or rather Camilla points out on the basis of Pierre Bourdieu. They generate social capital of female participants, which is a web of reciprocal cooperative relations that is channeled and transformed through the ritually established female solidarity into economic capital. Through the use of cosmetics in ritual, women create reciprocal obligations as well as foster cooperation amongst each other and within their wider cooperative female networks. The economic capital also flows from husbands towards their wives and children and their wives' families in the form of bride service, when husband hunts for or does work for the wives' families. Well, as I showed, and in line with Camilla Power's argument, a narrowly individualistic Darwinian understanding of how cosmetics are used in competitive sexual display does not capture all the dimensions of their use. It does not and cannot account for the aspects of social magic, the generation and maintenance of social capital that gives the beautification collectivizing and cooperative dimensions. Now I would like to connect what I just said to my research. First I will talk a little bit about the research context, and then I'll come to the data and interpretation. I researched 2 direct sales cosmetic companies. I worked with the representatives and I worked with their clients. I did research in the urban environment of Slovak capital Bratislava. I worked with 15 small collectives of women, that was 3 to 4, but sometimes 6 and more. Some of these collectives operated without any representative. Women in these collectives bought direct sales cosmetics. You probably are familiar with Avon or Oriflame, I don't know. On one hand, we would probably expect monetary relations and commodity exchange focus on profit to take place. But what happened? Women recontextualized cosmetics in their collective rituals so that commodity exchange was transformed into collectivizing gift-like exchange that focused on cooperation and commitment to the female collectives. The optimal selling strategy offered by these companies and encouraged by the cosmetic companies was a one-to-one encounter between a client and a representative. The aim was the highest profit for the representative and best bargain for the client. It was a competitive strategy where the representatives competed through the number of their clients and through the height of their profits. It was also an individualistic strategy where women wanted best cosmetics for beautification as individual as individuals. And also this strategy was, study strategy was very instrumental, very practical. Yet what I found in the field was something very different. This is a situation that I observed at a workplace. One of the women was sitting and browsing the catalogue, and 3 others were standing above, sometimes 4, depending on whether there was someone with the authority to disperse them or not. And it worked like this. The person, a female colleague, came to work, and maybe it was straight after the first morning coffee or after the lunch break that she took the catalogue out, and, oh, I have a new Avon catalogue. And now they all swarmed together. And show me, and they started to live through it, and now, I don't know, oh, what a lipstick, look, this would suit me, oh no, that wouldn't suit you, and a similar hand gabble. Another situation, very similar to this one, I observed at one of my research participants' home. When we look at the picture, can we tell who's the Avon lady and who's not? So this is the other situation.
The one taking the notes. Is there somebody taking the notes?
Say again?
Shall we see
The one taking the notes.
So Alex, the one taking
The one taking the notes, maybe.
Can we see the picture again? Just to see that. It went by a bit fast.
No one's taking. That's the catalogue. There's no one's taking. That's the catalogue.
No one's taking notes.
No one's taking notes.
Looks like it might be the black lady, but
Maybe. Yeah,
lady in
maybe.
black.
Yeah. Maybe.
It's not easy to tell.
So this is when the girls were not in the workplace; they were in their home, in the home of one of their friends. By the way, both situations took place without the Avon lady. That both groups operated without the Avon lady. This second had a kind of Avon lady, but it wasn't a real Avon lady because she was a sister of our friend, and she wasn't always present. So, and then I felt like we were on the same wavelength. Then I really had the feeling that we were as if sisters or something like that, you know. It all gathered around the bed, and we were either sitting on the bed or kneeling around it, as if around the fire pit. And I remember such an emotion that we all smelled each other's perfumes, and it was very spontaneous and pretty mad. And we were so happy about it, that what a fragrance and what a sample. That was great. I really enjoyed it very much. And it was fun. Like Annika was throwing at us those things, cosmetics, and we were squealing, and I think we all knew that, wow, what are we doing, you know? But we really enjoyed it very much. It was a very liberating feeling that maybe the world looks at women stereotypically, that the women and cosmetics, that's like, but there we could really express it. I think really express it because we were among us. And all of us knew that this was important for us. Thus I wasn't scared to say, wow, what a fragrance, and open it straight away. And smell it, and what cream is this, and so on. It was pretty familial, and maybe bonding. I have a picture of something kind of similar. I'm sorry, we lost the memory card with the pictures, so I have to be happy with reconstruct it with substitutes. Well, the 2 collective rituals that I presented to you were all orchestrated, not just these 2 ones, the ones that I researched, and these 2 examples, were all orchestrated spontaneously from below by the collectives of cosmetic purchasers themselves, not by the companies from top down. They took part usually every 2 weeks with the new catalogue, and when the new cosmetic was brought in. They took place either at work, in coffee shops, tea and a cake shop, at home, in sauna. They lasted between 10 to 30 minutes, sometimes up to 2 hours, depending. The length was often adjusted to the work or lunch breaks if they took place at workplace. As I mentioned, several collectives operated completely without the representative, and once the bonded collective emerged and took over, it subverted the profit motive. Half of the representative I worked with sold the cosmetics at their cost price, making no profit. All the other ones adopted specific strategies to counteract the profit motive. And these strategies were judged by all the women representatives and women alike as highly moral. Representatives who didn't adopt such strategies were condemned as immoral. These rituals were group leveling. The work hierarchies among participating women relaxed. Everybody joined in. The head teacher, the secretaries, junior, senior staff, everybody. Bonding and commitment to the female collective was the prominent thing in these rituals. These rituals were informal and improvised, yet there were several components that were present in every such ritual. This was seclusion of the women, back office, symbolic circle with the backs to everybody around, sauna, their own house. Another feature was collective manipulation of cosmetic, mutual touching, smelling, mutual putting on, accentuated sensory experiences centering on the body, obligatory and monitored use of coded language that referred to cosmetics, beautification and sensitive information about the body. And all these information were constructed as secret, only belonging to the collective. Sharing of, it was obligatory. Women in this ritual collectively generated emotional high. They were loud together. They laughed very loudly. Feminine behavior was exaggerated. Wow, the fragrance, for example. They were loud, often ribald, joking. They bonded together. They were sharing and leveling up their own beautification and cosmetics. And they also regularly tested and showed to each other their group commitment. And also important was all the purchases were agreed collectively by all the women present. No one did an individual purchase. They all did something together. They all had to agree who will buy what. This stable element constitute a ritual template, and this template is learned by the girls and women through participating in these rituals. And the girls start learning this template at puberty in secondary school. That's the first boom of this direct sales cosmetic frenzy. This template enables often mobile and professional women to join any such small collective anywhere in Slovakia that was formed in such a context of direct sales cosmetics in a relatively short time span. You go to a new workplace, you found a group, you join in, you know what to do, you're part of the club, you're one of them. These collective rituals coming to Bakhtin. These collective rituals have specific features that Mikhail Bakhtin analyzes in his book François Rabelais and His World. This is a picture of winter carnival procession in a Slovak town, Nitra. As you can see, men are dressed like women. Women are have exaggerated feminine features, red cheeks, big mouth. They are all moving like one body. It's not important who looks more pretty, who's more attractive. Doesn't matter. It's all like a parody. It's all a grotesque. As Bakhtin suggests, such a, of course, part of these processions is crazy joking, uproarious laughter, world turned upside down, loose behaviour, horrible. As Bakhtinian suggests, a shared collective laughter and ribald jokes exhibit group levelling and collectivizing agency. They have the potential, the power, to turn the existing world and its hierarchical order upside down, and collective culture of reversal emerges. Women refer to these as being on the same wavelength or being like sisters. The hierarchies at work during these rituals are leveled, everybody joins in, and ritual egalitarianism emerges. This ritual egalitarianism, in my research, is centered on beauty and beautification. It was marked by equalized access to cosmetics and leveled up beautification for all the women taking part. So they all would be as beautiful as possible, and together as a collective they would achieve it. Now, in the Darwinian world of sexual competition, this is quite a big achievement, this is quite a big thing. Giving up the most precious that a woman has, being more beautiful than the other one, and giving it up for the group benefits. Another aspect is, of course, temporal reversal of the mode of everyday work routine, and also temporal reversal of the expected feminine behavior in its polarized feminine and masculine form. So what we see as an expected behavior at work, which should be serious, modest, quiet, individualistic, achievement-oriented, competitive and hierarchical, it just completely turns upside down and becomes playful, joking, immodest, loud, sharing. Women cooperate and show commitment to each other. The hierarchies are leveled and egalitarian and collectivized, and they are ritual egalitarianism and female collectives come to existence. Here we can see the Bakhtinian grotesque body, which is ritualized but also never individual. We can't tell one from the other. They are all one. It's collective, it's collectivizing, it's exaggerated. It also stresses the lower bodily stratum. It's transgressive and always dualistic. It combines logical opposites of both, old, young, male, female, human and animal, which we have here. This one dressed like a bride, and then we have half man, half horse, and we have an animal.
What's the event?
This is winter carnival season in Slovakia, and it's a procession of masks. And you have it in villages, you have it now in towns as well as part of the cultural revival. It's all based on traditional carnival processions that are typical for winter period. They are standardized, feature, gender ambiguity, cross-species, cross-dressing, so you have half human, half animal.
So is it around December?
No, this is February.
Carnival.
Yeah, carnival.
So associate to Lent.
To Lent, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mardi Gras.
Before, yeah, just before.
Yeah, Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras, yeah.
Yeah, Mardi Gras, yeah. A similar argument also advanced Camilla Power and Ian Watts in their analysis of Khoisan and Hadza initiation rituals, suggesting that such gender ambiguity is a property of ritual gender of power, where ritual potency derives from an unified gender which has both characteristics, male as well as female. Similar characteristics notice also Sanders and Gluckman, and of course we can see it on the Slovak ethnographic material. Wendy James suggests that ritual speaks against and ironically with ordinary everyday habitus, how we are in everyday situations. Also Bakhtinian says a similar thing. Collective ritual body is always transgressive. In the ritual performance, the cosmetic purchases created ritually specific hyperfemininity that opposed and exaggerated the expectations of everyday femininity associated with work and relations with men. They were like crows swooping down on cosmetics with exaggerated gestures, amplified communication up to the point of squealing, and with uproarious laughter. Women themselves recognized that their behavior was far from ordinary. We all knew that, whoa, what are we doing? And it was pretty mad. Women incorporated into their behavior attributes of masculine assertiveness. They drank beer because that's what men drink while watching football. They were playing throw and catch games, and they often assumed women in unflattering positions. They collectively performed both male and female at the same time, and they generated the gender of power that unified both of these categories. Within the ritual domain, the cosmetic purchasers engaged in a commitment display in which sharing represented a very important part of it. Through very thorough, very rigorous and monitored sharing, they created and maintained ritual egalitarianism. Sharing was obligatory and ritualized and carefully monitored, so-called vigilant sharing, to quote Erdal Whiten. To ensure appropriate shares. As women themselves say, it's about watching because then you are very interested in it. This sharing operated as a mechanism of fine-tuned equalization as analyzed in hunter-gatherer societies, for example by Woodburn, Lewis and Peterson, and leveling or leveling up of beautification and attractiveness for all the women in the collective. Through this readiness of the women to level their attractiveness, it simultaneously tested for the group commitment. Are you still with us? Are you going to show us reliably that you are with us? Then share. It was also a counter-dominance mechanism, preventing any individual woman from becoming dominant or achieving higher levels on attractiveness within each group. This sharing of cosmetics and beautification representing the morality of the circulation of cosmetics within the female collectives. If any sort of accumulation in this context happened, it was condemned by the cosmetic purchases as immoral. What these women shared, they shared cosmetics by trying them on, and this trying on was either offered or on demand. Can I try it on? They shared beauty flaws, beauty tips. This information were constructed as secret and belonging only to the collective. They shared their decisions what to purchase. They shared the purchases themselves. They all order exactly the same thing, often, whether needing or not. Such sharing resulted in an equalized distribution of cosmetics and beauty knowledge amongst the women within the respective collective. Ritual egalitarianism was also maintained by women themselves. Women themselves checked on themselves on what they order, on their relative volumes of ordered cosmetics by comparing their orders to all the other orders, showing off their cooperative intention through beautification and respect for ritual egalitarianism. None of them wanted to stand out or be too low. Within these rituals, women generated an enormous collective agency. drawing back on Bakhtin, the ritually established collective body is transgressive. It carries with it subversive bodily counterpower, to quote Mona Finnegan. As we saw in the examples of African hunter-gatherers, the Ba'aka, the Hadza, female collectives, this subversive counterpower enables female collectives to undermine male domination and to temporarily assert power through ritual repartee. Men are expected to withdraw and free the space for women. Women in these performances stress the power of sex and procreation. They laugh, the bodily openness, egalitarianism, and of course aesthetics. They are beautiful, they are beautified. All these elements of the Bakhtinian grotesque. Also among the cosmetic purchases, women temporarily, as a group, as one body, waving their cosmetic catalogues as a weapon, temporarily claim the office space from men through the medium of ritual performance. Men do fight back through taunting and teasing the women. However, women in their ritual mode, using their collective body and their agency, seize the space. They are beautified yet loud, assertive, raucous, joking and laughing. And men thoroughly avoid everything associated with such cosmetic rituals. As one of my informants said, or it went around the catalogue, it always got to me as well, and always only to women. It never went to men because they were scared of it as if it was a plague or something. But I'm not surprised because it's a symbol of femininity, of something eminently feminine. Men, they wouldn't even touch it. I think they wouldn't touch it even if I asked them, please be so kind and take it home to your wife so she can have a look. Because that's like a stamp, like, gee, a man who's got an Avon catalogue in his bag. So, yeah, scared of it as a plague, avoiding everything that has anything to do with the cosmetic. Yet when the ritual finishes, women return to their space defined by the everyday work and gender hierarchies. Yet we can see this as an opportunity to temporarily equalize the working relationships between female and male co-workers within the ritual domain. The reversal of the relationships of dominance, as Boehm would probably put it, when women collectively through their cosmetic ritual control the office space, yet as temporary interruption of the office everyday routine. A similar situation observed Beverly Skeggs in the northwest English town. She termed these ambivalent femininities among the working class women, where she contrasts the Saturday shopping expedition of group of girlfriends, where they strive for a beautiful feminine appearance through buying clothes, suggesting what's the best. And this strongly contrasting with the Saturday night out collective performance of femininity, with stress on camaraderie among women, shared laughter and jokes, raucous, rude, outrageous, challenging the femininity, where women collectively claim their right to social space and pleasure. As Skeggs points out, for many men it seemed there was nothing more intimidating than this loud, laughing, together group of women. They appeared terrifying. They were claiming their right to pleasure and social space. Of course, how much time do I have?
5-10 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, leave time for
I'd like to sum up. Contrary to understanding of beautification practices among women as individualistic and competitive, which would be Darwinian understanding based on the adornment in the animal world, I showed that the collective and collectivizing aspects of collective use of cosmetics amongst women. I pointed out Bakhtinian carnivalesque grotesque characteristics and ambiguous ritually generated gender of power. I also pointed out thorough and carefully calibrated and monitored sharing of cosmetics and beauty knowledge that operates as a group leveling mechanism, counter-dominant strategy and test for group commitment, seen as moral behaviour. I also show that such collective use of cosmetics can be empowering in that women as a collective are able to, in ritual mode, claim and temporarily take over the social space. Just for comparison, to conclude, in line with Turner's conception of ritual symbols, the research direct sales cosmetics is the main focus of the collective cosmetic ritual, the ritual content and the medium through which the ritual takes place. They also stand for the collective cosmetic ritual itself. Like we saw in the Nembu symbol of the Moody tree, cosmetics also mobilize women who ritually handle them. It guides their focus on their collective solidarity. It also distinguishes and separates the ritual participants as bonded girlfriends from other female and male colleagues who are excluded from the ritual. Cosmetics also corresponds to the heterosexual aspirations of attractiveness of ritual participants in their relations to men outside the ritual. I'd like to suggest that similarly to Hadza, women at the Maitoko initiation, Hadza women at the Maitoko initiation or the Baka or Nembu or Bemba examples, women create an alternative cosmos, an alternative order in which they become fictive sisters endowed with such power that it drives the men away. This power is also transmitted onto all ritual objects, cosmetics and catalogues, so much so that men are scared of it as if it was a plague. Okay. Thank you for your attention.